so resist persists. So if I want to experience stuff, I just need to focus on the resistance stuff. Once I release it, I'm back into spirit. I'm back into that power that I really am. Anyway, there's a really neat story, and before I get there, this Chinese master said it all. It was really great. He said, and it was great advice. He said, you need to stop talking, stop thinking, and there's nothing you won't understand. Isn't that cool? Just in one sentence, explain how it's all about. Well, anyway, there was a story, and I brought the article if you want to read it later on. It was in the Fresno Bee. And the title was A Veteran's Close Encounter with a Red-Haired Angel. This shows us exactly what happens when we release and let go. It was kind of neat, and this guy lives in Clovis. His name is David. And what he said was after the Second World War, his ship was being taken back into dry dock. How many know what dry dock is? Well, over in Seattle, they bring in, Steve knows, he was in the Navy. But anyway, the ship was going to be sent to dry dock, and so for repairs and painting. So the thing was, this guy David, he said, what we had to do, they lowered us down the side of the ship, and it's like 100 feet down, and we were supposed to chip the paint on this ship. And then so it was fine, everything, because I'm in it with several other people, and I'm on this platform, and they're lowering us down. And then all of a sudden I realized something. I says, how are we going to get back up? How are we going to get back up? And the sailor said, no problem. He said, they're just going to throw us a rope, and then we'll climb up 100 feet. And there is where, when we have that situation, that's overwhelming. He started thinking, oh my God, he says, I'm a radar tech. I'm not in shape. I can't climb a rope 100 feet off the deck. I just can't do this. So what he did, they did in fact throw the rope down, and every one of the sailors climbed up no problem, and it was his turn. It was last. He got on the rope, and he got partially up, a little bit up, and all of a sudden, I can't do it anymore. He was out of steam, out of strength, and he was hanging there 100 feet above the deck, 100 feet. And so that's the moment of truth. There are many times when we're on that rope, and we don't know what to do next. So I let go and just jump off the bridge and hurt myself and then end up in a wheelchair. No. But we're on that rope and things. Here's what he did. He was a Christian man. He went to prayer. He released his own involvement. He got himself out of the way. I can't do this. I don't have the energy to do this. So Spirit, it's up to you. Because I'm really appreciative of what you've done for me in this life. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it in my life. But he let it all go. He didn't put himself in the way and have to solve the problem. And what happened, he looked up, and there's this red-haired giant of a man with a flaming red handlebar mustache looking down at him. Well, what's all that? And it's in the article. You can read it if you want. I'll leave it here. And he said, my gosh. And so the guy just immediately came down, touched him, and then grabbed his collar. And all of a sudden, he had a renewed power. He felt that he could do it now. And this he was called the Red-Haired Angel in the article. He was able to be helped up into the deck there. And he laid there exhausted, and the Red-Haired Angel disappeared. Mm-hmm. Kind of cool. Now, we can believe that or not. It's in writing, Fresno Bee. So when we do... Sorry about that. Not that it's always okay in the Fresno Bee. But anyway, the thing is that when we go ahead and release our own involvement, and we allow Spirit to guide our life, it gives us the time out we need. And he had the time out where he can reconnect to his power. That's why Stuart Wilde said that silence is power. There's another the master teacher, we know who that is, said this, and I'm going to read this. When thou standest still from thinking of self, and the willing of self, when both the intellect and the will are quiet and passive to the impressions of the eternal Word and Spirit, And when the soul is winged up and above that which is temporal, the experience of the outer, he said, then the eternal hearing, seeing, speaking, and doing will be revealed to thee. Isn't that cool? That came from our master teacher, the great one, Christ. So getting our minds off the problem is the important thing. And I'm going to go ahead and close here because we're going to do the bowl. I want to say that there's been some research on this. And over many years, researchers wanted to know, when is the mind more creative? So they did this long-term study. And they found that 80% of creativity comes when the conditioned mind is silent. When the conditioned mind is out of the way, when it's quiet. And a lot of us can get there. We can get to that silence. We don't necessarily have to meditate, although that's a main way to do it. But I do it in the shower. How many of you can experience a relief from the outer just by taking a long shower? You can do it. I do walking meditation once in a while, where you can just meditate while you're walking. Don't be around a lot of trees, though, because you know, you could put a bump on your head. So anyway, there's a story that I'm going to close with that's kind of interesting and kind of lightens things up a bit. This president of this it's a TV marketing group. It's a TV network is what it is. Anyway, one day he calls his vice president in charge of personnel over, and he says, Dave, I want you to fire that guy in that back office. I have watched him for 2 weeks, and he's doing nothing but staring out the window. It's as if he's in a dream state. Get rid of him. He's no good to our community, to our office. And then the vice president of personnel said, hey, wait a minute, boss. He said, that's the vice president of creative ideas. Do you know that, and I wrote this down, it's kind of neat. Do you know that that video game that we had this year that brought us millions of dollars? That came from Bill while he's staring out the window. Do you know that competition we had and where we created this software that brought us over 100,000 new members? That came from Bill. All the stuff that we're experiencing now came from Bill while he was staring out the window. And so the president reached for the phone and he says, in that case, he said, let's get somebody down here with some Windex to clean these windows. True story. In closing, we can say this, and this is a metaphor. We need to clean our own windows. It's a metaphor. What does this mean? When we get overwhelmed with whatever it is, we need to clean our windows, our perception of fear, doubt, and as if we're victims of something. Let's face it, folks. Everything that's out there, all this world of form, we created through the thought process, as John was telling us today. So we need to clean our windows when we have the false perception that a table or whatever economy can have control over our life. We need to clean our windows. We need to clean our windows. Anytime we have fear, doubt, irritation, let's clean our windows. And what we do with that is, as we do that, we allow the light of Spirit to shine into our life and allowing us to be the magnificence that we are. And say with me loud and clear,
And so it is.